Welcome back, everyone. Today I'll be discussing one of my favorite cannabis plays, and it's a dividend-paying stock. I'm heavily invested in it, and I'm excited to share with you guys. Stick around. Okay, guys, so I'll get straight to the point here. The company I'm talking about is housed under my industrials pie, and it is Scott's Miracle-Gro. Okay, this company is an extremely diversified lawn and garden care company. I'm sure you guys heard of it, right? They have products like Miracle-Gro or Ortho. They have weed killers, fertilizers, just kind of everything to do with lawn and garden care. Okay, they've also expanded into the hydroponics section and have taken a whole segment of business and geared it towards cannabis growers and what exactly cannabis growers use to grow pot, right? And so Miracle-Gro is one of those fertilizers that almost every grower uses, and Scott's Miracle-Gro, of course, is the company that makes that. So in this video, I'm going to dive into why I love Scott's Miracle-Gro, why I think it's a really safe cannabis play, and give you a look at my holdings both in Robinhood and in M1 about it. Okay, so to start with, here's the stock price of Scott's Miracle-Gro year to date. Okay, this is during a pandemic. As you can see, the stock didn't even drop that much during a pandemic. It was a great buy at about $77, but as we've seen in the pandemic, people are stuck at home. They have nothing to do. They might as well work on their lawn, right? Or they might as well smoke weed. And in either case, okay, Scott's Miracle-Gro benefits from that, okay? And only a small segment of the Scott's Miracle-Gro business is actually in cannabis. The rest is the majority, more than 95% according to their annual report, okay, is actually in lawn and garden care, just that you find at Home Depot, okay? Just for every Joe out there, every average Joe with a house who needs some mulch on his front yard is using Scott's Miracle-Gro, okay? But it also has a huge interest in the cannabis market. So it's a cannabis play, not because they're selling weed, but because they supply the materials to the growers who grow weed. Okay, and that it's the old metaphor. The people who went to the California gold rush, right? Some of them struck it rich, but everyone who went to California and sold the gold miners, hotel rooms and shovels, all of them made it rich. Okay, so that's kind of the my philosophy on Scott's Miracle-Gro here. It's not necessarily growing the weed that's going to strike it rich, but it's supplying the materials to grow the weed. That's who will make it rich. And Scott's Miracle-Gro is in the best position uh, to capitalize on that. So moving on, okay, so this is Scott's Miracle-Gro, and just to take a look, let's just look at Pot X here, okay? This is a global cannabis ETF, okay? They have quite a few holdings of just every kind of, cannabis manufacturer, distributor out there, okay? And check out its performance. As expected, right? Not very good. And there's some reasons why Pot X here is not doing so well. And I would say the biggest reason is due to regulations, of course, right? Is it going to be federally legalized? Are nonviolent criminal charges going to be dropped? We don't know this, okay? And you can see the market reacting to this news here, in November when the election results came in. It's a Democratic majority in the House, and it's a Democratic president. And you see that reflected in the stock price, right? Likely weed will become less serious of a crime. And so you have a boost in the share price of a lot of the cannabis companies. But that's the major problem with investing in cannabis stocks, right? You're going to have a lot of weed out, okay? If you pick one individual holding or even this whole fund, right, you're going to have a lot of uncertainty, okay? And investors that hate uncertainty, you're going to have a lot of uncertainty, and you're going to have a lot of weed outs. You're going to have a lot of companies that just fail because of regulations. They get busted, they don't do something right. They're growing illegally, they're selling illegally, they're selling and people are transporting it over the borders. There's just so many things that could go wrong when you invest in a cannabis company. The business model is just not well thought out, okay? But when you invest in Scotts Miracle-Gro, they already have a business model. They've been around before cannabis was ever even thought to be legalized, okay? And they'll be around after, okay? After cannabis is totally legalized. And they'll capitalize on that huge volume of people wanting more, plant material, right? I mean, they already have a huge business segment. A large part actually comes from farming, right? But they also have the lawn and garden care, which every household really needs. And now you have this huge new segment that they've been heavily invested in, which is cannabis. And so Scotts Miracle-Gro is just, selling the shovels to the gold miners and making a fortune off of it. So here's Scotts Miracle-Gro's dividend yield. This is it's like 3 years historical yield. And right now, this is telling me that it's not a great buy right now, but I think it's only going to get more expensive, okay? And I think it's going to get more expensive because of all the reasons I just listed, right? I think investors are going to realize that, hey, Scotts Miracle-Gro is going to make a killing no matter what cannabis happens. And if I'm trying to make a cannabis play and I'm trying to invest in cannabis, but I want to be diversified and invest in a business that is not just in cannabis, there's really only a couple options, and Scotts Miracle-Gro is the biggest. So I think this is only going to get more expensive. So why I say it's expensive is because its current dividend yield right now is about 1.5%, and its 4-year average is about 2.5%. So keep in mind that dividend yield is related to stock price and the dividend actual payout, right? So as the stock price increases, the dividend yield decreases. That's what happens when the dividend payout stays the same, right? So when the stock price increases, the dividend yield will decrease. And as you can see here in March, right, when we had the pandemic and there was a huge sell-off, the dividend yield spiked, and that's because the share price fell. And actually, it's not because Scotts Miracle-Gro is not growing its dividend. They actually are growing their dividend quite impressively, okay? As you can see here, even through the 2008 recession, they kept it flat. They increased it every year after, and they have a 5% historical growth rate, okay? Their 10-year is 16%. That is a huge growth rate for a dividend. So if you buy this company, you can expect 5% increase of dividends year over year. And finally, I just wanted to show you guys the annual reports here. This is their Q4. They had an increase in sales, up 90%, 24% for the fiscal year 2020. They're also in the UK, and they have a tax strategy for the UK on how to help, mitigate the taxes they pay in UK. So they're not just a US-based company, which gives you even more exposure. So really, it's diversification that I'm looking for here. Diversification in real world physical assets, right? They have a huge physical asset base here in the US. They also have some in the UK, and they're not just focused on weed, right? They have a business segment catered towards weed, but the rest of it is in farming, it's in lawn care, it's in garden care, it's what everyone needs when you go and you buy a house and you have a yard all of a sudden and you have to fertilize the yard, you have to put mulch in the flower beds, right? You have to go and buy Scotts Miracle-Gro from Home Depot. And so that pretty much sums up what I'm thinking about Scotts Miracle-Gro and why I think it's a great cannabis play. And I really encourage you guys to look into it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.